All right. I hope I know we have a couple there. They're waiting for this to open, so consider it open, I guess. I hope you can hear me. I'm not sure which mic is picking up. I've got one on here and one beside me. What I wanted to do is go over some of the topics we've had here lately, and also some of the comments that have been coming on here. So if you're out there, come on in and let's get this thing going. Oh, Noreen, can you hear me okay? I see you typed in there. Okay. Oh, great, great. I wasn't sure. I've got a mic beside me and one on the computer here, and I didn't know which one was picking me up. I wanted to go over a few things this week. I know in the last one I talked about a memorial that had been uh, absconded with, taken away, or done something with. And of course, it drew some comments. Some of them were not the greatest in the world. I don't know why, but uh, lately some of the comments been getting pretty raw, and it seems like it's a daily one on here. Well, wait a little bit till it fills up in here. Right now, I'm just kind of looking at the chat, if you don't mind, and see if I can open it up, make it a little bigger. I don't know if I can or not. Oh, are you having a pretty good time getting everything, all your shopping done? I know today is Friday the 13th. uh, I see Join the Joiners there. Just Me is there. Betty D. Noreen Curtis. Expiration date. So glad to see you're on here. I only put out, I only decided to do this about 15 minutes ago. And so uh, just trying to get it warmed up. Brenda, glad to see you. Oh yeah, I would get back to the shopping. Uh, Believe it or not, I had to get out there today, get a new shower head for the ours went bad. That and some hose or connector hose, whatever you call it, goes with it. Get that and then pick up stuff at the grocery store. And it seemed like I was going from one place to the other. I had to go out and pick up some cards. So by the time I got back home, it was probably around noon, and I felt like I'd run a mile race somewhere. There's a lot of people starting to come out of the woods. It seems like the stores are starting to fill up a little earlier than normal. I think it's the season has really gotten them in the mood for spending, I guess. Oh, who else we got on here? Creative crafter. No, that sounds like Linda. I'm glad you made it on here, Linda. How's your channel doing, by the way? And also, how's your new career going? I know the last time I heard you, it sounded like you were having a pretty good time at your new job. So, part of my subject today was I I'm not really too used to uh, public comments and stuff. You know, in the past, the things that I'd done on here were more of a um, technical end, you know, on the mechanical end of it, like TVs and things like that, and antennas. And I'd always got between 99 and 100% likes on there. And depending on whatever subject I have, now it can go all the way down into about 83, 84%, and about 16% positive. Or, I mean, 84% positive and about 16% negative, which means I need to keep my subject going a little different, or a little better anyway. And I understand the subject matter is what's causing the problem and my stand on it. And even though I started out neutral and I've pretty much pulled to one side, and it has to do with the way things are handled. That I know everybody out there, nobody can claim they're perfect, and I get reminded that a lot. And a lot of people come on here and say, "Well, Ray, you haven't done your background research," and they don't understand that no matter how much research a person does, you're going to form an opinion, and because we're all different, we're not always going to have the same opinion or feel as much as we do about that opinion. And as old as I am, my opinion can change simply because of the facts and the things I've went through in my own life to get to this age. And I've told you before, one of the reasons I didn't particularly care for what Jeremy was, whether he was right or wrong, I didn't care for the way he conducts business. And a lot of that comes from the years of business that prior to when I was 40 years old, I was in the corporate world and sat in a lot of meetings. And the corporate world has what they call a corporate heart for those that seem to climb to the very top. And it's a very cold heart, and it has to do with money. Money becomes greed. And I've never had that greed in mind. Of course, I want some money, but I want just enough so that I'm comfortable, and I don't want to feel guilty about how I got it or what I'm doing with it, if that makes sense to you. I came from at a young age, a very religious background, and along the way, you might say I drank my way part way to get to this age. So I was never an angel, and don't pretend to be. But I can tell you, the older you get, the more you go back to your roots. And so religion follows you till it hits a crescendo, until you're about ready to step into a 6-foot hole. And with me, I never know when that's going to happen. But I do know that I have a love for the Lord. And people have questioned my Christianity because of the topic that I talk about. By the way, I'm not looking so much at the chat right now, but when I get done with my little talk, I'm going to get into the chat itself. So bear with me a little bit. A lot of the things I don't like to see is some of the way the language has gotten on the channels as far as the in-house fighting, not only among the people that are, whether they're one way or the other, but against other channels. And it started to get into a lot of threats. And there's a lot of people that are put on there that people think are really something. I'm going to give an example. In the last week, a person was brought up as a pat on the back by, I think it was Shauna. And that person that they brought up is a activist. Okay. And I don't have a problem with people that are activists, but there are always people that want to get attention. They find something to protest or try to scream about, if you will, to bring attention to themselves, and then pat themselves on the back in public, doing whatever they can. And sometimes they make fools out of themselves doing it. I guess I've seen it all. And I don't have a problem of calling somebody out that pulls that kind of stuff. We live in a free country, and protesting is part of it, but not damage that's done along the way. And the name calling part of it, I hate just as bad as I do the damage they do to private property. So when somebody comes up and says they're an activist and they get in your face, you know what I think of them immediately. And I've seen plenty of it growing up. And when I come back from overseas, I've seen a lot of it. People hated the uniform I wore. And I can tell you right now, I didn't like the people very well that were doing that to me. And I see a lot of that going on now. and I see the same attitude coming to light. And some of these people are called woke people because they're just looking for a reason. And none of us, absolutely none of us, need to look for that reason. It's a hard enough world to live in as it is. And I know it's tough for some out there. Money that brings us into this argument is what I'm thinking, because one person has enough of it and is so worried about making more. And in fact, in the lawsuit that's going on, that seems to be the top subject, that everybody is costing this person money. And I've seen this person get on the station or the videos and say, and he went back in his chair and he said, "The Lord wants you to give me money, lots of money. I need more money. I have no money, but I need lots of money so I can give it out." And then a week later, he'll be on there showing a video from $1 million home or a truck that's worth anywhere from $50,000 to say $80,000, or the camp that's called a ranch or whatever. And they start looking at different properties. And it's hard for me to look at something like that and say, okay, you're wanting us to believe one thing, but you're showing us something else. And I call it greed. Now, myself, I worked in the corporate world. I made some pretty good money while I was there, and I spent a good amount of it. But I live in a very modest home, and I live a very modest life. And my tastes are very simple. I don't eat filet mignons at night, but I do buy, occasionally I buy some and put them in our freezer, and we'll have them out at a special occasion. But it might only be 3 or 4 times a year that I might have one of those little 6-ounce filet mignons. We sell them mainly for roasts, hamburger, pork loins, stuff like that. I don't eat a whole lot of bacon because I think it's ridiculous that something I could buy for 15 cents a pound when I was a kid, that I got to pay $9 a pound today. To me, that's ridiculous. I could buy it, but why? There's so many other things that they're within a reasonable range that I can be happy with. I don't have brand new cars or anything like that, and I'm not trying to get any. And I'm on this thing right here, and I get accused all the time of trying to get more subs. And I very seldom ask anybody to hit the sub down here. It's a choice, your choice. And I appreciate it when you come on and you're a sub to this channel. I think that's great. I don't have a super chat over here either. And all of you have noticed, everybody that comes on my channel is equal. And that's the way I feel about humanity. We are all equal, and we all have certain rights. The Lord will give them to you if you follow his path. I've never asked anybody for so much as a nickel. I have guided you into things where people may need some donations. And I've always told you when I feel that somebody else is more qualified to do these things. But the one thing I didn't expect was, because in my opinion, I have so many threats. I mean, the ones I've removed, I've got in a holder on my computer here. And I can tell you that it's well over 500. And almost every one of them are on this other channel. And some of them have changed their name and come back onto mine to make complaints again. The reason I may want to take one side more than the other, and it has nothing to do with somebody being perfect. Lord knows we're not perfect. But there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with trying to help somebody in this life if they've been down. Now, one of the things that disgusted me, and I watched it last night on 2 Leaves in a Pod, and they were checking the list for the presents that were going to Harley. All of you know who Harley is, do you? I mean, Harley is a little 5-year-old girl, and her life hasn't been the easiest life. She has become a focal point for people to throw rocks at this mother and father. And I can tell you, the people that say they're living in squalor and they don't have sewer and they don't have water, and I want to tell you, they have been inspected over and over and over. They live much better than what I did when I grew up. I have an appreciation for those nice things, and everybody does. If you're born with a silver spoon, you may not appreciate it as much, and you look down on something like this. But I can tell you, a big percent of this planet lives below that standard of the people that are being torn apart because of the way they live. We have thousands and thousands of people living on the street and under bridges and under overpasses. And I don't know if any of you realize how bad it really is out there for our general population here in the United States, one of the richest nations in the world, and also one of the freest. And yet, we're trying to find reasons to make fun of people, call them names. We don't appreciate it. I wish I could get more people to think somewhere along the lines that I do. I understand you may not like somebody very well. That's fine. Nobody asked you to take somebody else to supper. And I certainly would never ask you to go visit somebody that you have, that you're upset with. Every day on this thing, somebody comments on me and tells me, well, you need to go over there and spend time at Preston to see how they're living. I've already seen it through pictures and through peoples that are eyewitnesses. And believe me, they live way above the standard of the average person probably on this planet. If they lived in almost any other country, it could be much worse, much worse. We take it for granted, the things that we have. So much so, excuse me, I got a lot of phlegm in my throat. So much so that we're looking at people and demeaning them into the classification of what it was back in the 5th century, where people had to grovel in the dirt. They had to crawl to get where they were going, some of them. They had to get there on their knees to somebody that was no more than owning some business to beg to be able to walk into their place. We don't have that in this nation. We just don't. But there are theirs that want you to bend on your knee, to grovel, to be part of their group. And we call them the Kool-Aid drinkers. That's what, quite frankly, my world is one where I want everybody to be on some kind of an equal plane as far as the base living conditions. We don't all, me included, don't have to be rich. We just have to be satisfied and to draw that line of where it's at and not be jealous for those above us and not hate for those that are below us. That's not what our Lord wants, and that's not what we should have in our heart. Now, I hope I'm not boring you guys out there. I'm just trying to get a point across to you before I get into the meat of this darn thing. This little girl, Harley is only 5 years old, and so she's just beginning to see this world we're presenting to her. And I found out last night, people went on the thing that was set up to buy her Christmas presents. And they pretended to buy the present so it was taken off, and then she wouldn't get the present. And nobody else could see that she didn't get it, so they didn't buy it. And this little girl was not going to get the things that they thought she was going to get. And then people come along and say, wow, she's had so many things, her mother is going to sell them at that flea market. Over and over and over, I hear that. And yet the people are so mean. They pretend to buy it, so it's taken off the list, and then they reject it, but it doesn't go back on the list. Do you guys understand what these people are doing? Is there anybody in my channel that's part of that? Because if you are, do me a favor, leave now. I despise those people that do that. I would not do that to my worst enemy. if I commit myself to buying them something, I would do it. But I would not go in there and pretend like I'm going to buy it and then pull it back to hurt them. And that is exactly what they're doing to this poor little girl. The things that went on there, the things that she had asked for. And it's getting close to Christmas, and we're about out of time. And they go on there to look at the list, and they came on there and said, there's nothing else to buy. And somebody said, well, wait a minute. We don't think so. It disappeared off there. Somebody took it off, and then they found out how it was being done. If you hear about somebody doing that, do me a favor. Go over there and let Lisa know it on Two Leaves in a Pod. Let her know who this despicable persons are on this thing that is doing that to that little girl. All of us, including myself, go by hearsay on here. In other words, by the time I get it, it's second or third information. Now, I have a belief in my heart of Lisa and Tori and Robbie that they're doing things out of their heart. They took the time to go do it to try to get something going for this little girl. They don't have a GoFundMe for themselves. This is strictly something where you can go on the internet, you can get a card, and you can send it to the address that's there, which is, I believe, a box number for Lisa. And she takes everything and puts it, boxes it. This is all of her own labor, puts paper around it, whatever is going to go on it, and the card, and gives it. It's going to go to Harley. And some things are bought for, specifically for Michelle. And there's been some things bought specifically for John, because people have said, I want this to go to John, or I want this to go to Michelle. All that's happening is there's a bunch of people out here. Some of you are on my channel right now that have took out of their pocket to make sure these people, this family, is going to be able to have a nice Christmas. But they can't when people are stealing the things off the internet. That mindset drives me nuts. These people are as close to the devil and demons as you can be that would do something like that. Do you understand? Those people are no good. And it takes a lot for me to say anybody that would go on the internet and steal from a little girl has something basically wrong with them. And anybody that would tell another person to do that is as bad as a person that does it. The best way to settle all this whole thing is to not respond to those types of people out there. If you see something about them, you can always report them. There's nothing wrong with report them. If you get into an argument with them, whether it's on here or if you go on their channel, don't do that. Please don't do that. It's not worth it. All this time I've spent on here, and you guys know that I had initially went on an attack. And then I said, it is not worth doing that. I want to see if I can't help somebody out. And that is why I follow the Two Leaves in a Pod, is because that is my feelings. They are trying to build something, not tear it down. They're not telling Jeremy to take his channel down. They're telling him to behave himself. Enough is enough. The courts are going to decide the final battle. You can't fight it out here. The law has it in their hands. Leave it alone. This baloney about attacking these people that come on here are half nuts with anger and hate. They hate me because of my beliefs, my opinions. I don't hate them. I just want them to stay away from me. I want them to leave my channel alone. I've quit watching those channels out there. A few times here, I've checked in there for a couple of minutes to see if they still have that same rhetoric, and they do. And I've had plenty of people say, "Hey, Ray, you can't believe what they're doing to you. They're dragging you, whatever, through the mud, or making those cute names they like to make and stuff like that." I grew up, I didn't do any of that stuff, so it's hard for me to swallow or understand it. They're going to do what they're going to do, is my understanding. But I'm not going to grace them with giving them credit by going on their channel at this time and give them a yay or nay, either one. I don't want anything to do with these people. They're stupid. They're ignorant. We're really not supposed to call people fools. And I understand that Christians try to leave that out of their thing. But I'm going to tell you something. It tests the patience of a Christian not to use some language that far exceeds 4-letter words. It does. There is a time when you hit a limit. And my limit is people that came into this fight, and they put a pin on that poor little girl and used her as a focal point to make this thing blow up into this big atom bomb. This little girl is happy. We're trying to give her a Christmas. We're trying to give her presents. We didn't put them out there for vultures to come in and pretend that they're buying it and then discard it, and it never gets delivered because it doesn't get to her. What is in that mind of yours? You have stepped over the line. Now, this person that's supposed to be so great in another town, the activist, was led by the nose by another person on a channel. And the forms a opinion before ever seeing or visiting or knowing what's going on. Now they have an opinion. And so they voice their opinion and say, well, I'll be a witness. Here again, that's somebody's never sat down to a table and had a meal with anybody in that family. But they've been contacted, and they're going to bear witness against somebody that they have no qualms whatsoever of calling them names, because you see they're an activist, and anything that'll get their name in the public eye is okay. How do you get past it? I don't know. I was upset, I guess, last night because I've heard this over and over about what they're doing to this family. And I told you I was trying to back off and get away from this whole thing and let there be peace from now through the holidays. Let's give it all a rest. But how do you rest when they're going full blast at doing everything they can to destroy the holidays for somebody? And not just for one. They're on here trying to destroy my channel. They're on there trying to get 2 leaves in a pot taken down. Dave out there, Super Dave, one of the nicest guys that's on the internet as far as trying to get a real story, and they're after him. Guapo's got his own battle out there. He's not even part of this. And if you've watched it, you can see who's the better man. Guapo's handled it like a man, like it should have been handled in the first place. When this judge looks at this darn thing, he's going to want to know how a neighborhood dispute became a federal case. You know something? Just to give you an example, in 1 year's time, this thing blew up into a multi-million-dollar payout program. The family that's being attacked didn't get any of that. Why do you think this thing is up in the air like that, like playing a... People out there, you don't understand. All the time that these other channels are out there and they've got a super chat going on here, they're getting paid to attack people like me, people like Lisa, Robbie, Tori, Dave, Guapo. They're attacking our channels and they're paying a couple of channels, just a few, They're making all kinds of money on this. And they'll tell you, oh, no, not us. That somebody came into the channel the other night and said, oh, the first thing they did was got on there and said, oh, I don't see anything on the super chat. I haven't even had an inkling about thinking about turning this chat over here into a super chat to make money. Absolutely not. There's no reason for me. Somebody said, well, monetize your channel and donate the money. You don't understand. This is not my job anymore. I'm retired. My job paid much more than I'd have made on here. I got involved in this thing by accident. And I got on the wrong side when I started out because I didn't investigate far enough. But when I did, I was disappointed in what I found. And when I came on, I said, look, I looked to see what was going on. And I checked both sides of this thing. I want to tell you something. If you were to look at some of Michelle's background, she's been involved with saving wild animals for a long time. This didn't start overnight. You know, we take the worst thing we can find in somebody and say, that's what that person is. I used to be a trustee in a church years ago when my children were growing up. And I've seen about everything, all sides of life. The people that thought they were the greatest thing in the world, that do anything they could to split the church because they weren't religious enough. And the other people that were at the bottom that was there to just get the help they could get from our church. They were all welcome to come in and listen to a sermon. Never asked somebody to leave because we didn't have that kind of a problem in our church. We treated everybody on a good level. We had a conscience. When I come out here and people that were saying they're Christians and stuff, it was hard for me to swallow that because for a lot of years, I guess I was shielded in thinking what a real Christian is. Because if everybody out there tells me they're Christians and they act like they are right now, how can I believe that? How can I think all those years that I spent there, why was that? My children, they all believe in that there's a Jesus Christ and their soul will be saved by believing in him. And they realize you have to walk the path. You can't just ask somebody and get what you want. My son, a few minutes before he passed away, confessed to being a Christian and that he believed in Christ. He knew that he was not going to make it through the night. That was one of the reasons I was able to accept the fact that my son passed away. Because I believe I'll get to see him again. And I'm in this life and I see everything that's going on and I try to help. That's all I'm out there trying to do is help. I'm not trying to take somebody and do away with them. That is not my intent whatsoever. All I want is somebody to look, give a second chance to somebody, help them out. My grandmother said that there's always a little good in almost everybody. If you can find it, you don't have to take them home to supper, but you can give them a chance or you can help them a little bit. You can do that. My grandmother was very, very poor. And yet she gave everything she had to us. She opened her house up to us. We filled that little home up, less than 400 square feet. By the time we got done, there were 6 of us living in 400 square feet, 3 rooms, no running water, no ice box, no refrigerator. We had an ice box. I'm telling you, you have to live in the basics to appreciate everything else sometimes. The poor people that lived in that area, okay, because we certainly weren't the poorest, all helped each other out. Come summertime, springtime, and fall, people were sharing their gardens, the fruit from their trees. If somebody went hunting and they said, you want to go with me? There might be 2 or 3 of you go hunting. My great-grandfather's farm was right down the road. My grandmother was born and raised there. We were welcome to hunt there my entire life. All the farmers around there knew us. We were welcome out there. We didn't have the kind of money that they might have, but they didn't have a lot of money in their pocket either. What they had was the ground that they had to work all the time. They couldn't sit back and let it go fallow, because then they would have nothing and they'd have to pay taxes on it and lose it because they didn't have anything coming in. People are that way. You have to get up and do something sometimes, but you can only do what you can do. You're an individual. You may not be able to dig a deep ditch, but maybe you can bury, or not bury it, but put the dirt back in it. I don't know. We all have a place in this world, and it behooves us to let somebody have that chance. When I was young, we didn't have anywhere near as many people living on the street. My best friend that I grew up with, now he was out of Tennessee. He moved back and forth a couple of times when he was very young, and we lived just a block apart, not in Tennessee, by the way, at that time. When I went to his funeral when he was in his, I guess he was in his 30s, not maybe early 40s. And he was hard to recognize. He was, when we grew up, he was well-groomed, well-spoken. Everybody liked him. He ended up as a panhandler in California. And he died on the streets. And he had a full beard and he was skinny and unrecognizable. I could never understand it. What happens, what changes in a person, and how they end up on the street like that. And now today I see over 30,000 of them in Los Angeles on the streets, downtown. And I also seen them spend over $1 million on a parking lot, and they put in about a dozen single rooms in there and patted themselves on the back. The governor of the state did, because they spent this million point something on there for a dozen one room. They were twice as big as the outhouse we had behind my house. That's how big they were. You could put a bed in there and sleep, and you could have a couple items in there. How come it costs that much money to build just a few little one-room shacks in that same area? A block from there was apartments there. They were over $3,000, single bedroom, over $3,000 a month. Now, a person making, say, $2,000 or $2,500 can't even afford a one-bedroom apartment down there in that area. So now, do you understand why people are on the street there in that city? You know, when I look at Michelle and John and their little 4 or 5-year-old daughter, and the conditions they live in is like a palace compared to what I had when I was young. They have over 1.5 acres, 1.6 acres of ground. They're in an area I would have loved to have been raised in. I loved trees and water, and I was one of those kids that collected all kinds of wildlife when I was young. That to me was made for me. I'd have been in high heaven. As it was, I didn't have that opportunity. But here's a little girl that is going to have that opportunity if we let her. You people that are on here, that are watching my channel, you have an opportunity to help this young girl out. Now, I'm old enough, I'm not going to be around for a whole lot longer. But in your lifetime, you have an opportunity to help people just like this family, to take that step up. And you'll be richer in your heart than the richest man in the United States. Money can't buy you your family. It can't. It does take something to be comfortable. Why don't you ask John and Michelle how little they get along on and how much love they have for each other? And if you were to talk to that little girl, I'm going to tell you, I'll bet you she could be able to tell you, not how much money it takes, but how many hugs it takes, how many kisses on the cheek it takes. how much sacrifice by John and Michelle. Do you realize they sacrificed the last 5 years for this child that was born with a health deficiency? 24/7, they have spent all that time for her. Who are we to tell them they did something wrong? Who are we to tell them that it's not good enough for them to live there? Who are we to tell them to give that child to somebody else? They want to take this child and put it back into the same environment that these two people saved him from. They want to send him back to where that poor little girl wouldn't have stood a chance. Lord, help us. If you've seen that video and you've seen what those two aunts, how they were reacting, you would not feel comfortable. When I seen that, my next video went up and I said, I don't want any part of this. I don't even want to mention her name again because I don't want my name to go with this poor little girl. If they put her in this environment, the reason this girl wasn't with her mother was because of that environment. There was a half a dozen children there with one of the aunts being raised by her. The father was in pen. The mother was in rehab. This little girl was born while her mother was a drug addict. What in the world gives us the right to tell Michelle how to raise this child when she saved that child? We've seen the documents from the doctor saying that she is doing it right. This child is healthy under her care. Everything has been done according to the medical ways that have been asked of her of a doctor. CPS has been out there to that place with no write-ups. They've done nothing wrong. You see, somebody sets a fake standard out here and says, they're not doing it that way. They told us over and over they don't have a sewer and they shit in the bucket. Who gives a shit where they shit? They have a sewer system, I'm telling you. And they go on their thing out there and sell a little 98-cent bucket and laugh about it with a turtle hanging on the side. You know, a turtle won't last long hanging on the side with a noose around its neck. You know that, right? And they laugh about that little blue bucket. And they sell it to you for $25, and they don't have $2 in it. And they think that's funny. You're saving turtles, and you're saving alligators, and you're saving reindeers. Come on. You know something? They griped and raised hell because Michelle and John were on some sort of a subsistence, whether it's SSI or SSD. I don't know what. I've never asked them. I don't know what it's for. And I don't care what it's for. Anybody that's on that has to go before a doctor annually to prove that they're still going to get it. There's nothing wrong with that. It was put there just for that purpose. She's also trying to supplement the income and maybe get off from that. You see, she's getting at the age where she'll be able to go on regular Social Security. But she can also work at the flea market, and this other person was going to try to stop her from making a small amount of money in a flea market. Is that fair? You tell me. Why would anybody do that? Why would you cut off income from somebody? Why would you wish him to starve? The worst person in the world, would you want him to starve to death? Would you tolerate it if the neighbor starved their dog? No, you would not do that. And yet, people, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are following a guy that would starve this person to unalive him. Is that right? I mean, I'm asking. My mind can't fathom this. Why would they do that? And they're saying they'd do it to save this little girl. And this little girl was saved that by the woman. John is, this guy is walking a road right now. He spent the last 5 months sober. He's trying to change his life. And we have hundreds of thousands of people calling him names, doing everything they can to bring this man down that is working so hard to be somebody. How many people have enough grit to stop a lifetime habit and start walking the right path? I can tell you very few. Not many of them have it here. John has it and is using it. The people, they're berating. They come into my channel all the time and they say, you don't know what you're talking about. This other guy, you need to go to his channel. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. You know, something that's too good to be true really isn't true. And you can hear things over and over and over, and all of a sudden you think it's truth because somebody said it. They told me that this morning, there was somebody on there, I want to see the documents, Ray. How many times, you guys have followed my channel now, how many times have I told people out there the reason that I turned and went to 2 leaves in a pod, the reason was because not only do they show you the proof in written proof, the documents, they had the eyewitnesses. They had a doctor's certificate. They had confirmation from the doctor on the phone. They've met Michelle and John and Harley. They were there they've spent a lot of time. Actually, they spent more time with them than the people that are against them that are filing the lawsuit. Let me ask you this. Last week, supposedly this lawsuit is over $250,000. You know, they say a fool and his money is soon departed. Let me ask you this. On neighbor dispute, okay, because that's what this started out as, would you spend $250,000? Not of your own money, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. And you may not even have it. Some people don't make that in 10 years. I'm just telling you, that's the way it is. So think about things when somebody tells you these big stories. Think about it. How true can it be? Is it real? And why? Why is it that way? Think about it. If you were walking in that shoe, would you do that? Use that noggin up there. Good Lord, give you something to think with. And if you give you morals, you're not going to be sending something to me saying, you need to look at the paperwork. You need to bring up documents. I've sent them over to 2 leaves in a pod to see those same documents. I'm not going to steal the thunder from somebody that's doing such a good job and has done a better job than I'll ever be able to do. I don't have the technology to do what they're doing. You don't understand it. They're working hard to do it the right way. You know what happened? Did you see that? I'm going to give you another example. Okay. I want you to just think about this. In the deposition, the question was asked, how much money have you lost? How many customers have been? And the answer was, I don't know. It's too much. It would take me weeks and months to come up with those answers. Whoa. People come on me here every day and ask me for questions that he won't answer on the deposition. Do you think that judge is going to be stupid enough to believe that? Let me tell you, I had to answer to the IRS one time. And I acted like a big shot. And this was back when I had a big head. And they wanted to see my receipts for my expenses over the last couple of years. I had these paper sacks full of receipts. the firm that was handling this for me, because I had to go out and get them. I'd been handling my own taxes for a while. Was Pete Morrick and Son. It's a huge outfit down there in Houston, Texas. And I knew the president of the company because he did a lot of the work for our company. And I went into his office and I had these sacks full of receipts. And he looked at me and said, "What is that?" And I said, "Well, that's for my expenses I've had in the last couple of years." And he said, "Ray, IRS won't look at that. That has to be documented. You have to put it into a short form. And they're going to go down that form and say, bring me that receipt. They're not going to look at all of them. They just want to see a sample." Now, I'm not saying this other guy that got depoed doesn't know anything about business. But if he knows very much, if he's ever had to sit before an auditor, he knows that you have to have your receipts and you have to have a sheet and you have to be able to go on that sheet. And if he points to that receipt, you have to go get it. That's what he's going to ask. That's what was asking me. Now, the guy that run the company down there, now, just to give you an example, back then, that was back in the middle 80s, mid 80s. He said, "Ray, do you know how much I cost per hour?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, what do you think it's going to cost me to take that and turn it into a sheet that you can read?" So I understand. I understood. And he said, "Here's what we can do." He said, "You do have the receipts. And there is amount that you can put on there and get deducted that's allowed per year and take that deduction. And the chances are they're going to take it and they won't question it. But if you go over that amount, they're going to want to see receipts." He said, "So we can do it that way." Now, you're talking about a guy that flies all over the country. I spend, sometimes several thousand in a week, either traveling or meals or hotel rooms and stuff at the time. But I went ahead and took the minimums and the mileage and the whole works. And you can't have it partially and then go the other way either. You either take it or else. The lesson I learned cost a lot of money back then. And it drained that old the savings account pretty good. But I get a laugh out of this depot when this guy says, "Well, it would take me." Here he's suing. Jeremy is suing him. But he hasn't categorized what he's saying. If you sue somebody and say they cost you $1 million, you have to have the receipts for that. You have to have proof for that. And you have to have it organized so that an auditor can look at it and understand it. It has to be in their language. They're not going to come over and kiss your petunia for you. You're going to kiss theirs so that you can get out of there in one piece and have something jingle in your pocket. That's what's going to happen. Oh, well, at least I got a little smile here at that junction of telling you about the experience I had. And when I look at a depot like that and I see how inane that portion of it was. Now I realize that a lot of times a lawyer is going to ask questions that will trigger somebody. And a narcissist can be triggered just like that because they are in real life, they're triggered like that. And they can't hold themselves. A person is telling a lie will a lot of times go when they're meaning yes. Next time you watch our little guy on there give a talk similar to this, when he gets past 26 minutes, I want you to watch something. When he goes like this, when he's got an important thing to tell you. Now, why do you think he does that? Because somebody told him body language will tell on you. That's what they're going to. That's why. And he knows when he gets to a certain point, he can't control the swing of his head. Do you know why a person can look at a signature and kind of more or less tell what a signature is? They take something that's done repeatedly, okay? And they look for the flaws and the uniqueness, both, because both of them have to be there. There's a percentage of how it's done. a person, once they understand certain things, they can follow along and they can be an amateur at following that. And you get to the point, the more and more you do it, the better you are at it. This guy, he is intelligent enough that when somebody says, hey, I know what you did because of, maybe it's a tick. Yeah. He's going to change it. When you see a poker player, if you sit down and there's 5 people playing poker, the guy that ends up with all the money is the guy that he's very intelligent. He doesn't have these tells, and he can tell when somebody else has one. And he's playing you because he knows you, and he's going to take your money out of your pocket. Doesn't matter how good a player you are. He knows you. That's how he gets your money. Life is that way. This guy, he is so egotistical in the narcissistic way that he'll run things that he forgets his tells. And when he gets a little tired, they come back. All I can tell you is that if he gets on here as long as I have just now, they'll come forth. You'll see them. And they'll come forth in these words. You'll know what they are. I hope none of you do the things that have bothered me about going on somebody's channel and berating them and doing all kinds of stuff, because their channel belongs to them, not you. I don't go on somebody's channel and make bad remarks. It's not that I haven't before, but people take it very personal, and they'll get off in there and you'll never get a chance to explain something. And there are people that come to my channel that have not done it in a mean way. They've told me what their opinion is, and we've discussed it on there. And I don't always win, and they certainly don't either. But there are times where they've changed enough of it that I've agreed that, yeah, you may have some validity in what you're talking about. That is negotiating terms, and that's the way we should interact with most people. So as much as I'm griping about them people, I hope most of you that come on my channel behave in that same manner when you go out and visit these people. You may agree with me 100% or 90% or 60% or only 10%. And your opinions, they're important to you. I know that. And if you present them to me in a meaningful manner without trying to tear me up, or without repeating over and over, trying to make it right because you think if somebody hears it enough, you're right, that's not a good way to do it. And I appreciate it when somebody comes on here and tells me their side without being ornery about it or being stupid. When somebody says, bring the proof, and I've already told you where the proof is, you can go over there and look, and you can call me a liar if it's not there. I don't try to take somebody else's channel away from them. I look out there, and my information comes from other channels. I don't come up with this out of the clear blue sky. I went out there and looked at it. And if they have some news breaking, it would be very rude of me to try to break it first. Some of these channels depend on the monetary income from here for their income, whether it's an extra income or their main income. And that's not why I'm here either. I'm not here to cheat the system in any way. All of you are very welcome to come on my channel anytime I'm on there. And your comments will be there if they're not demeaning to what I'm trying to do. In other words, don't tell me I'm stupid. You can say, hey, you're getting up there in age. Maybe you don't have this right. I understand that. I can understand that part. Well, Carol says I just like seeing you so upset. I'm not really all that upset. I'm disappointed in the way that people reacted. And yes, I was upset a little bit about them trying to steal the presents from this little girl, a 5-year-old girl, and only an adult could do what they're doing out there. People, how can we call ourselves an adult when or stealing. That's theft, by the way. I don't care how you mix it. How can you be that way? I I want to tell you something else. This thing when I got on here about that memorial from uh, Mimi, was worried about Kim, the mother of this poor fellow that he was killed on that road. The tree where they put that uh, memorials where they found the four wheeler. There was the neighbors spent an hour waiting for help in the street with this young fella, he, a married fellow with children. I don't know where hearts are. I just, like I say, it's hard for me to understand that part of it because I don't have that in my heart. I just don't. Years ago, uh, when I worked on nuclear plants, I had to take psychological exams to be able to go into the plant and passed everything. Background checks. You have to have a certain amount of intelligence. They're not going to let some dummy walk in and start hitting buttons for some reason. And all of them came out, and I was always given a copy of it to look at. They said, "This is what you've done," and it wasn't negative. Not everything was always positive on the psychological exam because if you happen to have a bad day, your thoughts are different, and it's hard to get around the exam or lie. They will ask the same question 5 different ways on there. I mean, the average one was like 900 questions that you take on a psychological exam. Nowadays, it's done with a computer, and people go through there pretty fast. I could probably do one in about 3-4 hours now. Back then, it was an all-day process. I had to take classes before they would let me walk in there and stuff. People that worked there were, I guess it was a different breed. I mean, we had problems different times with people. But it was a different atmosphere is what I'm telling you. If you couldn't be psychological sane, you were not going to get in there. And when I look at this, I'm thinking, boy, I wonder if maybe everybody that gets on the internet like this that has the privilege to get on here, what would happen if we had to pass those same psychological exams? How many of us would be left? And would it be a lot more fair? I mean, it's just a thought. That's all. I don't have any more to say. What I'm going to do is I just want to look at the chats, and you can ask me questions if you want. I'll do my best to answer them. And I got to get off to the side here to see it. Okay, let's go. Troll alert. Okay. If you see a troll, go ahead and knock them off. Pebs, are you the only one on here right now? Have I got any other people that can operate this? Where are you say there's trolls? Okay, let's go ahead and see how many trolls we can get rid of. Tell me which ones they are. I'll help eliminate them. Ken J says, "Welcome to No Name Calling." That's true. Alan, everyone has their own opinion. I have watched both sides, and that's fine, Alan. I agree to disagree, Ray. Yeah, we've already talked about that. We always agree to disagree. Expiration date. Yes, Swanee, agree. Miss Dunlap, God bless you, Alan. Please watch how much Kool-Aid you drink. Pebs, I think so, Ray. Ron, Alan. Pebs is doing a great job. Thank you, Pebs. I really appreciate it. You said you got it great. Alan is a troll. We're talking about Alan Schroeder. Is that okay? Let's see. Okay, everybody's still. Alan, okay. You want Alan? I don't know what you did on there. I know the lights are bad. I know you can't see me very well. Here, I'll brighten it up a little bit. Now you can see my face. I'll tell you what, will it help if I turn the background lights in my garage on? Will that help you guys? I'll do that for you. Okay, is that better, everybody? A lot of times I turn the lights out so you don't get distracted by background. I don't have a screen back there or anything, and sometimes it gets junky back there because I'm working on a lot of different projects. Alan took over your live. Okay, where's he at? Let's go ahead and get rid of him. Right here. Goodbye, Alan. Okay, did I get the right one, everybody? Okay, Mima, you say you love me. Okay, thank you. Hey, I got 2 hearts out of that. That's pretty good. We don't judge. That's good, Sylvia. You said yes, I got the right one. Okay. Yeah, if you call, one thing I don't like is Lynette is not Lynette. And to do that is to be disrespectful. And I just don't want to do that. Name calling doesn't do a good job. It's more like a 6-year-old. Uh, yeah, we don't want to do that. Hopefully nobody in here does. Oh, you got him. Okay. I'll remember that now. I try to give everybody a chance. The channel, like I say, I don't charge anybody to be on here. There's no special designations. Uh, I just wanted to get a point across and hope other people could too. And that we could meet here. And if we had to, we can negotiate things and we do it the right way, the Christian way, if we can. And I know sometimes you have to fight, ta-ta. When John come up with that ta-ta that day out there, when he was on 2 Leaves of Pot, I thought that was great. I can remember, back in my day, a lot of people did that. They'd say ta-ta, and then off they'd go. She does like to go by Michelle, and if you notice, most of the time when I talk about her, I do say Michelle, and I call John, and I call him by his real name, Cook. And there's nothing wrong with calling people their real name. There is something wrong with changing it, especially if you're demeaning them when you do it. All right. Was Diane leaving? Okay, bye, Diane. I'll put something on here, Georgia. I got to go through the things I've already got on my channel here. What I've got some is in the background, and I bring them out of retirement and put them on here. The ones I put up, I've got to come up with a little bit different venue to be able to get them on here. And I haven't downloaded some of the equipment I need or some of the programming, but I will. I'll work on that. I just got to get it done. Okay, Magilla Gorilla, there's a and a tree, a present, and a heart. Thank you. Oh, Will, seeing as I've been timed out, what? In recovery from surgery, I'll go back to bed. What happened, Kath? Sylvia, me too. Sorry, Ray, for my comment. I'm just a blunt person. I feel things like I feel. Well, we all do, John. So, as long as you don't demean somebody, don't worry about it. There are people we don't like. You can say you don't like somebody. That's just a normal feeling. They come to argue and try to make Germ's case in their lives. They never give up or in. It just continues. It's only because we let them expiration date. If we eliminate them, they can't do anything. Eliminate them off the channel. And like I say, I've got about 500 I've put back for the last month or so that I've said enough was enough. I get tired of being harangued. Bearded Ray, my son Damon's back home recovering and relaxing. Thanks for prayers. Well, I'm still going to pray for him, even if he's home. But thanks for noticing it, Bearded, Mr. Fisherman. You're a good man. Thank you for your insight, Ann. Thank you. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Pebs. Oh, did you get somebody? Oh, Mr. Pate, I suppose. No, it says retracted. So that's wonderful. Bearded. Keep him in my prayers. Yes, expiration date. People need the prayers even after they're completely recovered so that they can stay healthy. Kath, I need rest anyway. All good. Noreen Curtis wishing Guapo an auction class so he doesn't get harassed. That was kind of a bad deal, wasn't it? I mean, I know you probably followed it. People will go to a lot of lengths to bring somebody down, and that's his livelihood. I hope everybody understands that somebody taking your job away from you is not a good thing. Uncle Mike, enjoy your evening, Kath. Kath, I hate to see you go, but if you said that you were recovering, I hope you're okay. Good to be here. Brenda Booney. Scampy says, hi, Carol and Pebs. Cat feel better. I've just had surgery as well. That's why I haven't been around. Wow. I hope you're okay. Let's see. Merry Christmas, Ray, and everyone in the chat. That was Vonda T. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you too. Let's see. Forgive me. Jeremy is a yeah. Okay. Okay. I've been. Forgive me, and I also do not like him. Okay. Well, at least you called his name out, and then you called him poopy head. He's the one that comes out and says that people are shitting in a bucket, and he thinks that's a bad thing. He doesn't realize how many millions shit in the bucket, but I guess you know what I don't get, quite frankly. I know you've seen those blue buckets if you went on his channel, and he's got a turtle hanging off the side. How can you save a turtle if it's hanging off the side by a rope? That don't sound very good to me. And I'm wondering what the meaning is behind it. Funny Sonny, I'm not feeling very well today, but I have to go feed my mom. She has pneumonia. Oh, wow. I know what that's like. Everybody give a prayer, hopefully, for Funny Sonny's mother. Pneumonia can be tough, very tough. I take, I've got that shot that's supposed to last you pretty much a lifetime or something like that. I'm cooking dinner. Oh boy, what time is it? 4:30. That means I've got to get done here pretty quick. I'm just trying to get through the chat so I can make sure I recognize everybody. Pate says hello, Ray. Thank you, Pate. Scampy girl, thank you and funny. Brenda Booney, so true, John. What'd John say now? Crazy Carol, funny prayers. Yes, prayers for funny. Obsessed with poop. That's what that's all about. He is. And his guests that came to his property first over there at Jeremy's had to poop in buckets because his sewer won't handle it. His septic system is not good enough to handle guests over there. And you notice nobody lives there right now. I mean, they're staying at the farm, at the schoolhouse. Boy, talk about a Calling a pot black. Geez. Oh, let's see. Sonny said, thank you, Pebs. Scampy girl, Ray, so true. Hi, Suzanne from Pebs. Oh, goodness. Prayers up for Funny's mom. Yes. Praying for all. Monica says, hi, Suzanne. George says, prayers for Funny. Scampy girl, hi to Suzanne. Pate, hello, everyone. These guys, Santa Clauses out there. Thank you, Pate. Laurie Ellison, plus he had his friends pooping in 5-gallon buckets. That's right. He did. How'd you like to be invited to somebody's place and you got a half a dozen guys out there shitting in buckets out there? Can you imagine the smell out there? He was talking about a smell because somebody's got one of those porta potties things on there, and it was for the workers. That my whole life I spent in construction. We had those on every job site. What's so sad about all this is Harley Grace may one day see all this. It's, not only is she seeing it, she's living it. People out there forget it. They forget about what they're doing to this little girl. What do you think she thought when she's in the post office and their mother says, we got to get out of here. We're not allowed here. Christian here as well. Brenda Booney, jealous? I don't know. Michelle John has a top-notch septic system. They do. Absolutely do. It's a heck of a lot better than that one over at Jeremy's place. Did you see them run the dump truck in that one? I don't know if it was a cistern or it must have been a cistern because it didn't look like there was poop in it, but they run a dump truck over the top of it. Carol Crazy, have a great day, everyone. I have to go, and as always, another great video. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. And I'm going to be getting off here in the next 15 minutes. Join the joiners. I didn't hear exactly why you don't want to monetize yourself, Ray. I wish you would, but if you hate, you would do it for Harley. The reason I said no is because it is another job to do. Whether I would give the proceeds to somebody else or not, it would be a job I would have to hang my hat on. And I'm retired, and I have no intention of harnessing myself to this keyboard. The day's going to come where somebody is going to nail one of my videos so bad that I can't be on here. Jeremy's already tried to take it down once, and I'm sure he'll come back at it again. I don't want to be beholden to this thing. It's not going to happen. Bye, Carol from Pebs. I'd rather be breakfast. Rather it be breakfast. Okay. John Cooks, that's crazy. What happened now that I missed another one by John? Let's see. Jeremy smells his own breath. Porta potty would be a bouquet of roses. More than likely. I thought about that more than once. Expiration date says I did see that. Hi, Boadicia from Pebs. Monica, yes, that is true, that because they do not care. All that matters to Jerm is the money he is making. And I believe that in my heart, that's true, Monica. Boadicia says, hi, Pebs back. John Cook, it's the best septic system in Otter Creek. It costed me $11,500. I'll tell you something, John, that's probably a bargain. A lot of places, those things are more expensive than that. But it just burns me every time somebody says that you guys don't have a system out there. People don't use their heads, and you can tell that they're not listening to our to us telling them that it's there. I mean, they've seen it. Thomas took a picture of it. Let's see. Concerned Planet said, hey, Boadicia. Shwani said, thank you, Pebs. Lori Ellison, exactly, Laureen. Is creativity lacks, so he goes for made-up content. High Concerned Planet from Boadicia. Bearded Fisherman, the two leads posted a cool pic an hour ago in their community page at staking that's harassment. Uh, there, it has to be uh, Jeremy that's doing the harassment. I'd almost bet. Ray, make another channel just in case you don't even have to do anything with it until you need it. I thought about that, making another channel, and the rules are against it. By the way, if you do it to keep from going down, uh, but I've thought about it just in case somebody decides to tear it up, and I'll put it on there for maybe a different purpose. Maybe it'll be one just for singing. I don't get anything for singing either. I have to give up any monetization or even thinking about it for the songs. The songs don't belong to me, and other people have rights to any monetization on it, making money on it. Okay, so, but I'll put. What about if I put a singing channel up here? Uh, Everyone finally caught alive. Thank you. It was as live as I could make it. I would check it out, Bearded. I'm not sure exactly what you're going to check out. Pebs, hi, Debbie. Swanee, signing off. I'm getting anxiety. Blessings all. Well, Swanee, I hope you don't get too much anxiety. I tried to bring you down easy. The things I get upset with, you don't have to. I just wanted to bring some things to light. And stealing from a child is wrong. I don't care who does it. And that's what they're doing when they take the presents or the ability to have a present off from the channel. They're doing that on purpose, not by accident. And it's adults. It's not children doing it. Adults are doing that. And we all know where they probably come from. One of about 5 channels that are out there that would do the dirty deeds. Swanee, take care. Swanee, me too. Lauren Meyer, how many are with me in excitement for Harley and having the best Holly Jolly Xmas? I'm with you. I'm with you, Lauren. Have a good night, Debbie. Hi, Peb, son. Have a good night. Swanee Angel, Pebs. Pebs. Irene, me. That sounds like a channel I'd listen to. A great idea. I'm not sure which one it is, but night, Debbie. Ray, a singing channel. I think that's probably what I'll do is I'll put up one where I just do songs on it. How will that be? I don't know how many will come to it. Okay. That's why you would like. Okay, that sounds like a channel I'd listen to for a great idea. Expiration date. Bye, Swanee. Concerned Planet. Yeah, singing channel. The hands up. Okay. Can't believe how they mess with the gifts for HG. It's just sad and sickening. It is very. But think about it. Somebody went out there and took a memorial down that Kim put up there for a child. I don't understand what the deal is, why somebody would do that. It just don't make sense. Concerned Planet said, bye, Angel. Let's see. We love your singing. You need to sing Happy Trails. I've done that a few times, not on here, but I've done it a few times. Happy trails to you. That's the best I could do without music. I will have to replay your live because I was paying more attention to the trolls, Alan. So sorry. Yeah, and I'll try to make sure that this is up as well so you can look at it. Expiration date, that's what they want. That's Pep's put that up there. I don't even want to think about that. That blows my mind to no end. Let's see. Pep says, you're so fun, Ray. I'm glad you think so. I do have a good time on here most of the time. And, before I got all wrapped up in this controversy, I still had a pretty good time no matter what I was doing. And most of my life has been pretty good. There were times in the corporate world where negotiations and things get hot once in a while. But most of the time we walked out of there, shook hands, and had supper. So it was a different world than this one. If I get into an argument with, for whatever reason, or get upset, it's not a matter of walking out of here and going to supper with the person I'm talking to. That's one of the biggest problems with the keyboard We can see each other in the screen, but we can't actually interface with somebody person to person. Oh, well, let's see what else. Gotta go. Call to dinner. Okay, Concerned Planet. Have a great dinner. Let's see. Until we meet again. Until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Roy Rogers, I think, sang that, didn't he? Hubby is home. Time to set dinner out. Okay, Georgia. Uh, I hope you have a great dinner and have a great evening too. Always wake up happy to a new day. That was Brenda. Kevin Jays. I think it's the anonymity of the internet that scratches the evil itch, and some of them have it. Sad. You know, you can't hide from the Lord, though. All those people that are on here that do things that are morally wrong, the Lord sees it. And if you're thinking it, the Lord hears it just as loud as if you yelled it at the top of your lungs. People forget that. I think they would act different if they ever had enough faith, in a deity. If they don't believe in the Lord, let them believe in some kind of a deity. Goodwin Ray, yes, he did. Ray, I'll be there by Jackson 5. Oh, let's see. There were some songs that I liked that the Jacksons sang, and they're a lot younger than I am. Obviously, you know that. Debbie, yes, Ray. Amen, Ray. Thank you, Kevin Jays. Yes, I do have to go as well. Lots of love, hugs, and peace out. That was expiration date. Great show, Mr. Ray, Concerned Planet. And goodbye there. Pebs, okay, you said bye expiration. I hope I'm smiling enough to send you all home with a smile on your face. I don't want you to be completely upset. When I talk, sometimes the passion takes over and I get carried away. My wife says I talk too much, and I guess I do. I made a living. Part of it was through putting seminars and stuff on. And sometimes you had to get up there and have nothing to talk about, but you're talking to him. It's kind of like the guy that got up there and he says, I stand before you to stand behind you to talk about something I know nothing about. You may have heard that big speech, but it's there. Pate, F. Pate, time for me to start dinner. I'm making, what is it, CLA. Okay, you better hurry. That voice melts me every time. That's from Brenda. Thank you, wife, for sharing. Yeah, I sing to her every once in a while. I've got one. I'll tell you what. I've got a song to her that I sang on our anniversary, and I'll put it up there this week. And you can tell me if you like it or not. It's just one that I sang quite some time ago, and I just reposted. My father-in-law sang Moon River at our wedding. Yeah, I know that one. Moon River. If that's the one you're thinking about, I got that somewhere. I can look for it. But what's my favorite Christmas song? I guess it'd be White Christmas. But Brenda Lee. I got to meet Brenda Lee, and she got married a few months after I married my wife. And I met her the same year she got married over in Germany, over by Karlsruhe, Germany. But rocking around the Christmas tree. Rocking around the Christmas tree. I think you all know that one. That's probably one of the biggest selling songs out there. Debbie, bye, Francis. Enjoy. Oh, I guess Francis is leaving. Goodbye, Francis. Between technology headaches and this crap with Jeremy, I'm almost scared of getting my channel up. P.S. I'm glad you talk too much. Lori, you don't need anything. Right now, all I've got is this computer sitting in front of me. That's it. I've got a mic back here, but I don't have it turned on. If you have, this is just nothing more than an HP Pavilion. You can open it up, and you can open your channel up in a few minutes and be on here talking. It's that easy. Ta-ta, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. John, ta-ta. Hey, listen, I appreciate the Tata there. I appreciate you coming on the channel and listening. If you happen to see Thomas or two Lees, tell them hi for me. I try to make it around to the different channels, and every once in a while I see you up there. But thank the Lord that things are changing for you, John. And I want to congratulate you on sobriety. My son last month celebrated 12 years of sobriety. So just to let you know, it is doable. So thank you so much for letting us know that that you're on the right path. Let's see. Funny Sonny, yes, that's it. Ta-ta, John. That was from Debbie. Uncle Mike, you as well, John. Tumbleweeds, I sing that one. I'll put it up here for you, Terry. Matter of fact, I sing it, the Pioneers song from back in 1939. If you remember Festus from on TV, remember Festus? Well, he was the main singer in there, and Tumbleweeds was one of his songs, and I sing his part when I sing that. So I'll do that. I sang different country western songs, and when I was young, I grew up on them. And I have been on stage a couple of times as a guest, but only for one or two songs. You see, I'm not a good enough singer on a lot of songs, but I do have a few songs that I can sing adequate, but that's it. A good singer can sing anything. Oh, you're going to be on the swamp tonight, John? Let's see, what is tonight's Friday? Are they going to be up? I haven't looked at their channel to see if they posted anything yet. Let's see. Timothy, hello, Ray. Clam chowder, that's what you're having tonight? Man, I like clam chowder. Whew. You know, I was out in New York. I think it was Buffalo, New York, and I had some of the greatest clam chowder out there. And I also, believe it or not, had some of the greatest hot wings, and they tell me that come from Buffalo. So, Kevin J says, ta-ta for now, JC. Let's see, I'll see everybody on Get Swamped tonight. Oh, okay, okay. Going to be on Robbie's channel. By the way, everybody, Robbie, that's Get Swamped is Robbie's channel. You all know Robbie. Let's see. I would get a band. Oh, well. My son-in-law played for a living, and one of my grandsons has a band. Now, the grandson I'm talking about, his is hard metal, but he can't sing anything. But he's got all the jewelry and the tattoos and all that stuff. He doesn't like my music too well. Hi, Ray. Pretty much all I do with my channel, all about the alternative. Let's see. Please hit the like button from Pebs. You know, I've got this thing expanded, so I can't see the like button. But Lori Ellison, Bonanza. Let's see. Gunsmoke. That's right. Festus was on Gunsmoke. Good for you, Debbie. I didn't know if enough of you remembered. You know, these are old times. I mean, I go back a long ways with this stuff, so a lot of you wouldn't recognize some of my music. Debbie, yes, we have the best wings here. Anchor Bar. I'm not sure where Anchor Bar is, but that almost sounds like the bar I went to in Buffalo. And they used to put them out there. It was free when we come in to have a beer. At the time, I was doing some work out at Indian Point 1 and 2 out there. So I don't know if you guys know. Well, I don't think I was in Buffalo then for that. But anyway, my age is catching up with me. I was in my 30s back then. So. Written by Charlie Chaplin, helped me through hard times. Okay. Wouldn't it be nice to get a song, Germ got run over by a reindeer? I can sing a song like that. Believe it. I can. But I hate to mess it up for, at Christmas time. I think maybe I think I'll sing one about he got run over by a four-wheeler. Would that help? After all, he would have it coming. Not literally. Okay. I tried to sing croaky one time. The police came in, arrested me, and got me for disturbing the peace. You know something, Darwin? I got up one night and it was in a karaoke bar and sang a few songs and I come back to my table and there was no room for a drink because it was full. I had never seen anything like it in my life. And I turned around, I was looking around and I told the bartender, I said, I can't drink all that. He said, well, we can't store it for you. And he said, we can't pay you for it. You either drink it or it goes out. What a waste. There was over a case of beer on my table. That was terrible. I'm from Rochester, New York originally. Anchor Bar was the first wings. I'll be darned. I didn't know that. That's from Kevin J's. Yep. I worked on out there. I went out for a short time and worked for General Electric out there in New York as well. I've been so many places in my life doing things that it's hard to remember them all. And I'm getting where I forget half of them. Anyway, I think I've gone through as many as I can go. Everybody out there, forgive me. I think I need to get off. My wife is going to probably shoot me before, if I don't get in there, because I'm pretty sure she's got supper ready for me. And she hasn't set the pup out here to me yet. Usually she sends him out and you hear him barking. But anyway, to everybody out there, you know what John says? Does everybody know what John says? Ta-ta, everybody. And come on back. I'll put another live up soon and we'll have some fun. And I'll try not to have something that is so miserable to talk about. Maybe we can talk about some of the things we were able to do at Christmas, and we'll forget all about the problems out there in Otter Creek, and we'll talk about families and the prayers we want for people. We can save them up, and each one of us can grab somebody for whatever we need to help somebody along the way. So everybody, John says, you know what he says? Ta-ta. Well, I like to end it that way. Remember, I used to always say sayonara, adios, or auf Wiedersehen. Or I try to learn something new all the time. And I don't know what language ta-ta is, but I know what it means. So ta-ta. And come back again, will you please? And have a smile and don't let me get in your mind. I'm not trying to do that. I want you to go out, have a good time. If it bothered you too much, take a deep breath. Let it out slow. It's going to make you feel so good.